Right, so let's start. Yeah, we have 7, 8 participants, and your request to explain construct validity. Now, here it says construct validity is meant that finding out to what extent the test that has been made has confirmed to the theory which had served as its basis. Now, here I'm not happy about this English anyway. There are some problems in sentence construction. Anyway, I think we can understand this. So construct validity is checking whether the test is following the theories of the subject or theories of education related to the particular content. The example we took is intelligence tests. There are different theories related to intelligence. Now, for example, that Sigmund Freud says something about intelligence. So Sigmund Freud has defined intelligence in a particular manner. So there are theories related to that. So if we prepare a test following Freud's theory, so that's okay to test the type of intelligences Freud has spoken about. I don't remember what type he has said, but what I remember is that he has taken intelligence as one entity, where it is something like basic is mental capacity. The mental capacity we have to think logically and do calculations, mathematical calculations such as. So the early tests were based on early tests like intelligence tests were based on that. So we found many verbal arguments or logical thinking questions and mathematical thinking questions in the early type of intelligence tests, right? So they had construct validity according to the theory they followed. So again, it had construct validity, right? But if somebody followed just only somebody thought only about the logical thinking and questions included only based on logical thinking, that is poor in construct validity because it didn't follow any theory. And then if we are talking about the multiple intelligence theory, we all are accepting these days, right? The multiple intelligence theory is also an old one anyway. But still we believe that it is correct and we accept. So in multiple intelligence theory, Howard Gardner speaks about 6 to 9 different types of intelligences. He says people have about 6 to 9 intelligence faculties and we develop them into different levels. So if we are following the multiple intelligence theory, there should be questions in that paper representing all those 6 or 9 faculties. So for example, there's one thing he called is that verbal intelligence, right? So there should be some questions to check the verbal ability of the people. And he talks about the mathematical intelligence. So there should be some parts to check the mathematical intelligence, some questions, right? Speaks about the musical intelligence. So there should be some questions to test the musical intelligence of the people. He talks about spatial intelligence. So there should be some questions to check spatial intelligence. So that is something like now we give a side view of a building and we ask the candidate to imagine the upper view, the aerial view of it, and draw that or find the answer, which number shows the aerial view of that building. So that is spatial intelligence, right? So like that, if we are following the multiple intelligence theory, there should be multiple intelligence questions, right? If not, our test paper doesn't have the construct validity, right? You can still prepare an intelligence test right? Just including one or two different types of questions. But then we say this paper doesn't have the construct validity. That is construct validity. Do you need any more examples? And that's the example given
No,
here.
so it's clear now. It's clear now, sir. Thank you.
Right. So let's continue from there. What we discussed last is reliability. So I gave another word for reliability, that is consistency. If the performance is consistent, we say that particular achievement test is high in reliability. It has good reliability. You can rely upon that test for standard marks. We know that the marks that we obtain through that achievement test really represents the real achievement of our students. So we can be happy about that test. Reliability is measured in different manners, and there are so many factors that affect reliability. So there are, I am giving you these 4 methods of testing reliability. Test, retest method. I told you that we can conduct the same test again and again and see whether the results are much similar. There can be improvements in the results, but there should be some similarity between the results. So one method of finding out reliability is the test retest method. The other one is parallel form method. I told you that we prepare 2 equal papers, 2 parallel papers using the same content, using the same specification table. So if there's a question in one paper about Newton's third law, then there should be another question, similar question in the other paper also based on Newton's third law. Question can be different. This should be different because it is they are 2 different papers. Like that, right? If there's a grammar question in one paper based on if clauses type 1, there should be another question. There should be the same number following the same number. There should be a question in the other paper for if clauses type 1. The split half method is that we give the question paper and then divide the questions into 2. So this division can be made like the first half and the second half, or the odd numbers and the even numbers, like that. Then we analyze the first mark the papers and correlate the marks. We call it correlation, seeing the relationship. There's a calculation that we made, which is called the correlation coefficient. So if we can calculate the correlation coefficient, and if it is very much equal to +1, then we say the 2 papers are high in reliability. They are high, they show high reliability. Or the 2 sets of marks show reliability. If it is closer to 0, that means there's low reliability. And there can be negative reliability also. That means the same student, like the one who scored well in one half may have scored very poorly in the other half. So then if that happens for many students, then the reliability can be minus, negative. Then the internal consistency method, again, it's very much similar to the split half or the test retest method. It is again by conducting the same paper twice to the same group of students and doing the calculation. Right, so there are several procedures to develop the test reliability. Right, so these are some steps we can take to improve reliability. What are they? First one, include more and more objective type questions. That is increasing the selection type questions such as true, false, multiple choice, etc. So we can improve reliability by including more objective type questions. I think I told you what objective type questions and subjective type questions are. Let me see if I can show you a model. Right. I hope you can see the paper I am showing now.
Yes, sir.
Right. Right. So you can see now here we have 10 questions, right? And it actually it's a supply type test. We need to supply the correct answer. This can be one word or two words. Right? This is also an educational measurement question paper. A measuring scale developed on the basis of a relative zero. The answer is ratio scale, right? But there's no any other answer, right? The only correct answer is ratio scale, because from the four scales we learned, I hope you remember the four scales we learned: nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio scales. The correct answer is ratio scale. So there's only one correct answer. This is formative evaluation. If student performance is evaluated continuously and in short term, it is a formative evaluation, right? So only correct answer for this one is formative. There cannot be any other answer, right? Evaluation of someone compared to another is what approach, right? We discussed about criterion related, norm referenced, and the ipsative reference. So it is norm referenced approach. Only correct answer is that. Nothing else is correct. Right. These are objective type questions. Because 1 mark into 10. If this is right, 1 mark. If the answer there in the marking scheme is given, there is 1 mark. Right. If that marking scheme answer is not there, 0 marks. Right. Whoever marks this. If you give the correct answers to a O-level child and ask that O-level child to mark this paper, the O-level child will mark it correctly, because there cannot be any other answers. Nothing to think. Just look at number 1. If the answer ratio skill is there, right, 1 mark. Look at number 2. If the answer formative is there, okay, right, give 1 mark, right? I think we know that some teachers do this in the class, right? Especially for these objective type questions, they distribute the papers among their students and say, okay, I will read the answers. If you see the answer there, put a tick and give the mark. If the answer is not there, that is wrong. Right? And the second set, multiple choice questions, here also there's only one correct answer. Right? So then again, it is called objective type. Because anybody can mark, because there's only one correct. Then we have some other questions. According to Simpson's classification, write in order the first 4 steps of learning outcomes of the psychomotor domain. Hope you remember them. We learned them, right? So the first 4 steps are the same. They don't change. Name 2 types of people who can be identified from a sociometric test. Now, there can be about 4 or 5 different types of them. If one can write 2 of them, then that's the correct answer. So still we can give exact answers, right? So like that it goes. This is also very much similar to objective type, because answers are set, right? There can be about, for the same one, there can be about 5 answers. So we can give a list of correct answers, and if the child can write 2, we give the 2 marks. Right. So there also is very much similar to objective. Right. Now here's the difference. Now for these ones, right? This one is a calculation. Prepare a frequency distribution table taking 29 to 35 as the lowest pass interval. There cannot be any changes because it's calculation mathematics. Right. Again, this is also objective. Construct the frequency polygon, that is drawing a graph. So graph is set there. Again, objective. Nothing can change. Right. Considering the mid value of the model class and assuming calculate. So calculation, there should be only one correct answer. Objective type. State 2 uses that a teacher can gain by depicting the marks on a frequency polygon. Now there can be more than 2 uses, right? So then a person has the freedom to write any 2, right? And we may not be able to give the exact answers there, right? So this is a little subjective because there should be somebody who knows the subject to mark this, because they should be able to judge which one is right, which one is incorrect. Right. And comment on the success or unsuccess of students' performance. Right. So comment is personal. Right. So again, now this is subjective. People may write different answers. And we will have to accept many of those correct answers in different words. And the questions we have after that are really subjective. Define the term education measurement. That's one definition. We can give a model definition, but if a person can write that idea using their own words, we have to accept the answer, right? And then 2 marks are allocated for that. So based on the idea, how clearly it is explained, the marker can give either 1 mark or 2 marks. If it's a clear cut, exact definition, so 2 marks. If it is vague and only half of the idea is expressed, so give 1 mark, right? And there's a possibility of changing the mark. Because of that, we call it a subjective test, right? So the same answer written by one person, 1 marker will accept it as a full correct definition. Another marker will say, argue, no, it is half. I don't like it, right? I'm not happy with this definition. So I give only 1 mark. That can happen. Because of that, we call these type of questions subjective questions. Do you agree with the statement evaluation or assessment cannot be carried out without measurements? Give reasons for your answer. So the candidate has to say yes or no, right? And prove that yes or no by giving reasons. They may give different reasons, right? The answer here should be yes, right? But there can be people who argue for no also, right? If it's a strong logical argument, still we'll have to accept. So give reasons. Now they will give different reasons. So what the examiner has to do is to see whether the reasons are valid and give 3 marks. So based on the validity of the reasons, it can range from 1 to 3 or 0 to 3. There's a possibility of having different marks. So that's subjective, right? So these questions, these type of questions where the writer has freedom to express in his or her own words, right? The correct concept, there can be one correct concept, but that concept can be presented in different manners. So therefore, these questions are all subjective. So I think you can have some idea about subjective and objective questions. So the guideline is to include more objective questions to improve reliability. Right. So there should be the questions like what I showed you at the beginning. 1-word answers or 2-word answers where there's only one exact answer. Multiple choice questions, matching items. They should be the objective type questions. They are the objective type questions. Next one, using structured essay type questions instead of essay type questions, right? Hope you saw those questions I showed you. These questions, they are more like structured. This is actually not a structured question. A structured question has one big part, then we divide it into small parts, and the candidates are asked to write small descriptions for each part. So that is structured essay type questions. They can be subjective, but within subjectivity still we have divided the marks into 4 or 5 like that. So only the range of subjectivity is low. If you are giving 4 marks, so one person will give 4, the other will give 3, other will give 2 like that. So only it can be a difference of just 1 or 2 marks. So subjective, but subjectivity is low. Preparing a detailed marking scheme to evaluate answer scripts. That's another way, right? So if we are following the same marking scheme and it is detailed enough, right? So then the marks of all examiners will be very much similar. Marking question by question without marking the answer script at once. So that is one technique many markers follow to improve fast marking. So they can mark quickly when they remember the answer. And that help reduce subjectivity also. Marking question by question. Now, going back to that question paper, now we have 10 short answer questions here. So what we do usually is first mark these 10 questions in all the papers we have. So if we are marking 50 papers on that day, if you have 50 question papers, for all 50 question papers, we mark only these first 10 questions. So then you can remember the answers well, right? And if something is wrong, you can notice it. Then go for the next 10 multiple choice questions. Quickly mark, right? And then going down, now this first one, this is a compulsory question. It says, answer 5 questions, including question number 1 and selecting 2 each. So question number 1 is compulsory. That means all students have written answers to this. So again, then you can mark this at a stretch for all 50 papers and move to the other questions. Right? So it says that that habit improves objectivity. Involve experienced examiners, right? There should be experienced examiners. Since they are experienced, they know how to reduce this subjectivity in marking. Providing opportunities to mark papers with an attractive environment. So that the environmental characteristics. Effects from the environment are low, the bad effects. So have a positive, pleasant environment to mark. So those are some things that we can do to improve reliability, high reliability. Practicability we discussed that day. So that is some more details for reliability. Hope everyone is okay with reliability now. Right. And you can see that it says the consistency of measurement obtained by using a measuring instrument. So reliability means consistency in the results. Right. So we discussed these things also in our last lecture, factors related to the personality traits of the examiners. That is, these are the things that affect reliability. There are several factors that affect to increase or decrease of an error in the test score. So some are strict, some markers are strict, some are lenient. Naturally, they direct to assign high marks. So if they are lenient, they give high marks. The consistency of the examiners causes to lack reliability. So inconsistency. There are temporary facts affected to the examiner's traits like the fatigue of marking papers, right? You mark about 50, 60 papers a day, and by the end of the day, you are dead tired. Right? Then you tend to give, in some cases, they might give high marks and finish it. And some others will be just upset and find it difficult to read. So to avoid that fatigue of reading, they will just might read from here and there, and then get some marks and go, right? So a child who deserves a good mark may just get an average mark only, if that happens, right? So that affects the reliability. And then unrest, mental status, physical weaknesses, indolent, etc. Right? All these things affect badly. Other factors affected are the relevant subject knowledge, professional experiences. Instructions and guidance affect to the variation of marks. Instruction and guidance that is given in the marking scheme may affect, right? So those are things that we can discuss in relation to reliability. Okay, hope you are okay with reliability. Any questions about reliability?
No, sir, thank you. It's very clear now.
Right. Thank you for your responses. Right, then let's move forward. I hope to move forward with the document, the same document today, to discuss test construction also. So here the tests you can see that divided into two as supply type, selection type. So these are the type of questions you can include, right? Types of test items. Items that can be included in a test. That means the questions, the type of questions that we can include in a test. Providing appropriate test items or questions is the next step on making an achievement test. In written tests, two major categories can be used to classify the most widely used item types as follows: supply type and selection type. So the meaning is that in supply type questions, examinee has to write the answer. Examinee should supply the answer. That answer can be a number, a letter, one word, two words, one simple sentence, two, three simple sentences, one paragraph, and maybe a long essay. So there can be different types of supply type answers and different types of supply type questions. These supply type questions may range answers from a single word or letter to a lengthy 2-3 page answer. Right. Selection type is, now if I am the person who prepares the test paper, I give you the answers. Right. I give you several answers. I give the candidate, I give the examinee several answers. The examinee has to select the correct answer. That is selection type. So for that, I can give a series of answers with a series of questions. What the examinee has to do is to select, pick the correct answer for the correct question. 10 questions, and I have given 10 answers. So the candidate has to pick the correct answer, right? Or I will give just two options, right or wrong, yes or no, true or false. So the examinee has to select one, 50-50. And there can be three answers, like right, wrong, or can't say. Right. True, false, not sure, like no information, cannot judge. There can be then I give 4 or 5 answers to the same question and you select the correct one. 3 answers, 4, 5 like that. There is selection type. So look at this chart. Types of items for written tests. We first divide them into 2 as supply type and selection type. So look at the supply type questions. We divide them into 2 as short answer variety and extended answer variety. Short answer variety and extended answer variety. So I will show to you again the supply type questions, right? Now, of course, all these are supply type questions. Right? It is objective, one word, but still the examinee has to supply the answer. Now here it is selection. We have given answers, they have to select. And then here again, looks like structure. They say they have to supply the answer, right? Now this is restricted, right? Now here the first one, it is restricted. You need to write only 1 or 2 words. Your responses are restricted. And here also the responses are restricted. Very short answers, right? 2, 3 words or maximum 1 sentence. Right? Just 1 or 2 sentences. We have restricted the answer. And when it comes here, look at this part 2. And question number 2, this third part. Present with examples, 3 advantages gained by the students through the transferring of education process from evaluation culture to assessment culture, right? So we have to give 3 advantages with examples. That means the candidate or the examinee has to write a long answer for that. That's an extended response type. The response is extended. Third one, part 3. Explain with examples the procedure commonly followed to secure the content validity of a test tool. So it's asking about the blueprint or the specification table. Now the examinee has to write a long description about the specification table, right? How to prepare it, what should be included in the horizontal side, the vertical, horizontal columns and the vertical lines. What are we going to include, and how are we going to allocate questions? So like that, they have to write a long description. That is extended. So those are extended essay type questions, right? We divide the essay type or the supply type questions into 2 as short answer variety and extended answer variety. Then go to the selection type. And selection type, we have 3 varieties here. Matching variety, I told you earlier. For the small kids also, we give this type, right? One side we have put words, the other side we have put numbers or pictures, right? So they have to match them correctly by drawing lines. 2 already, this should be 2. The word should be TWO, 2. 2 alternatives variety. Those are the questions like true, false, yes, no, right? Select one correct answer. Then the MCQ variety, multiple choice question variety. We will be discussing at length about them little by little, right? There's a description about them. We have supply type tests, a test which the student responds by providing an answer. So it has a short answer type. Examples: who stepped onto the moon first? The franchise is given to Sri Lanka in the year 1930s, I think. So what they have right, it is the answer is restricted or short, right? This is one name here, name of a person, and here this is the year, right? Advantages of this type tests are, it is easy to write test item, right? It's very easy. See, who stepped onto the moon first, right? Who wrote the novel the god of small things. Like that. When did the Sri Lanka win the Cricket World Cup? Quickly you can write it. It is useful to continuous evaluation. Guessing is less. You can't guess because there's exact answer here. Right? Who stepped onto the moon first? Now, no guessing is available there because there in the world history there was only one person who stepped down at first. So no guessing. If you know the answer, write it. If you don't know, just think. There's nothing you can do. You can write some answer, but it is wrong. Right? A broad range of the syllabus are represented. A broad range of the syllabus are represented. Right? So we can cover syllabus here, right? Because we can include several questions like this, simple questions, right? And examiner has to write just 1 or 2 words for a number, simple number, right? We can cover a vast area of the syllabus. The time duration for answering is less, and questions that measure more subject matter can be applied. So it takes less time to write answers. In a second, in a few seconds, you can write the answer if you know it. So then, because of that, we can include more questions. It is more appropriate to primary classes because it measures the simple knowledge. That's the problem, right? Anyway, they say it's advantage, right? Step onto the moon first, who? Right? Very simple knowledge. Just learn by heart. Read something and remember. This is also read your history and remember the year. So they are simple things, right? They just the lower level mental abilities such as knowledge, comprehension or understanding, and just a few of application, etc. Limitations. Measures the simple learning outcomes limited to the knowledge. So yes, right. So for the primary level, it is okay, but if when it goes beyond primary level, it's a limitation. Measuring complex thinking abilities is difficult. The other point related to this, right? Very difficult to check things like creativity, logical thinking, ability to evaluate things, synthesis, etc. It's difficult to measure. No opportunities to write creative complete answer. Yes, there's no allowance for creativity. Now, if you ask to write a good essay in your language paper, the students can be very creative and write answers, right? But here there's no space, no scope for creativity. Facts that should be taken into consideration in constructing short answer tests. Use simple language, right? Simple language should be used. Words should be used without various meanings, right? So you can't use ambiguous words. They should give direct meaning. Right. Keeping sufficient space for the answer. All right. Now often we are supplying the answer sheets so they can write answers, right? There should be enough space. So if we are, especially if we are going for the restricted answer type, right, and restrict the answer to about 2-3 sentences, we need to give them enough space in the paper itself. For the extended answer type, we provide blank sheets so they can write answers, right? But in the the restricted response type or the structured essay questions, we'll give a limited space for them to write answers. So then it should be enough for them. Right? Some candidates' handwriting can be bigger, so they need more space. Some may write with small letters. It is best to leave only one blank. Extracting sentences from the book is not appropriate. So if we are preparing a test like that, we may tend to extract words, sentences from a book and delete 1 or 2 words and leave it as a question so that the students can fill it the blank, the 2-3 words, right? But it's not appropriate because they have crammed well, right? Just as they see the sentence, they will recognize it. So then they can quickly write answer, easily write answer. All right. Since now I have spoken about 45 minutes at a stretch, I would like you to do a simple test. Right. This is very simple. Right. Now we studied this restricted answer type questions, supply type questions. So I am asking you to write 2 supply type questions, 2 or 3 supply type questions from your subject area. Right. So take some area from the subject you are teaching. Just type 2-3 questions for short answer supply type questions. Right, start. Take 2-3 minutes and send me the answers. You can just now this time you can easy if you can type the answer question in the chat and send it to me. If it's difficult, you can write somewhere, take add the photo like you did in the last lectures. Right. I hope that many would do because we have about 9 participants here. This is a simple exercise, so please try to do the exercise. Right, start. Send me your answers. Of course, not answers, really questions.
So excuse me.
Right. I received two answers. Thank you very much. We can accept them as correct. Who is the father of evaluation? What's the scientific name for humans? Like that. Okay, one more question. Let's see. I have received another answer, so wait till it downloads. What answer? In the number 2300, what is the value represented by 2? Good. Yes. X was 34 hours in days and hours. Right. Good. That's mathematics. Yeah, I'm getting more answers. Very good. What type of cells do carry oxygen in blood? Yes. Rosina, sent with the answer also. Give the number of participants in a volleyball team, correct? Right. That's in which form do the oxyhemoglobin? Yes. Yeah. Now, in all these things, short answers. We need short answers, and most of these carry fact answers. They are like more objective type. Right. Let's proceed from there. The next type of questions. Supply type questions that expect 10 extended answers. These are called essay type questions. Yeah, Ilma, what do the rings in Olympic denote? Yes, correct. Good. Supply type, extended answer. Answering the questions given with individuals' own words within the given period of time is an essay, right? And it is within the given period of time, often within a given number of words. They have to follow a certain number of words, right? Arani also has sent an answer, so let me see that first. And yes, the same question. Yeah, it is morning or evening when it is 5 p.m. Good question. Yes, 2000 gram in kilograms. Write the next number, do 4, and it's a pattern. How many 3s make 12? Good. Yes. So all these, the examinee has to think and write, find the answer and write. So still supply type answers. They give their answer. So the good characteristics of these essay type questions are having the freedom to present the answer. So that is from the examinee's side. The examinee has the freedom to write. Now, what is your point of view? If he asks, what is your point of view? They can write about it, right? Do you agree with? So they can agree or disagree with something, right? So they have their freedom, right? As long as they logically prove their answer, right? The examiner has to give them correct marks. A direct approach to important aim and able to present questions so as to measure higher order thinking, right? So it is very difficult to find the higher order thinking in those supply type questions, right? Because higher order thinking are like analyzing. So if we are to find whether you can analyze something, we should give you opportunity to analyze. We give a graph and ask the examinee to analyze the graph. So then to analyze that, the examinee has to write something in length. So therefore, that tests the ability of the examiner to analyze synthesize, bring things together and create something new and show it to us. So that at the same time they show their creativity, like their ability to create something. Right? And evaluation, give their judgment. That's where we ask, right? What is your point of view? What do you think about it? Do you agree with this? Express, explain, discuss. So in all those situations, they evaluate things. And for that, they need more freedom. And they have to write in length. Focusing students for overweaving learned facts. So it's not mere by-hearting things, mere cramming things. They have to think beyond that. Right? So think beyond the learned facts and write answers. Introspection of the personality. Give me a second to answer this call. Right, I'm back. Taranga says I can't hear. Yes, I was not talking. I was on a call. Right. So back to this supply type questions that expect it should be extended answers or essay type questions. They have some good characteristics. They give freedom for the examinee to write the answer, and it gives yeah, I think I have received another some set of questions. Let's see. Direct approach to important aim and able to present questions so as to measure higher order thinking, able to measure the higher order thinking, and then focusing students. Let me see these questions first. Yeah, extended arms, right? That is extended answer variety. Right. Okay. I will go through that after discussing this part. Focusing students for overviewing learned facts, introspection of the personality. So introspection of the personality means by analyzing the answer, we can have some idea about the personality of the person, right? So going through the answer step by step, right? we can analyze what type of personality the writer has. So some extended essay type questions, the essay type answers can be used as personality tests also. Able to measure the creative ability in it affects the nature of learning and teaching. In constructing items based on higher level objectives, students attempt to provide appropriate answers for them. So that means this develops the higher order thinking of the students also. With characteristics, problems related to these essay type questions or the long extended answer type questions. Relevant and irrelevant information are provided as answers because of the unclear questions, right? The question can be unclear, ambiguous in some places. So then the examinees may write their own answers in different ways, right? And what happens eventually is that the marker gets tired when they read unnecessary answers and they can't find any point relevant to the question. So there's no place to give marks. Still they are reading 2-3 pages at a stretch, right? Using words with variety meanings. Yes, we don't know. We don't know what type of words are used by the examinees. So these words, again, as I said, can have different meanings, can be interpreted in different manners. So in some examiners may interpret them correctly and give the correct marks. Some may interpret them in different manners, and some may say this is not what I expect, and the examinee may not have marks. Students are misled by using the action verbs such as inquire, what do you think, right? So they might go like, they might be misguided by these expressions. When we say inquire, especially, right? They might not understand what to do really, right? Problem of writing short notes. Unclear of students' task expected, because when the questions like discuss, inquire, the students may not be clear about what is expected from them. Lack of reliability of the test, because it is inconvenient of having accurate measurement about the success of answers. So reliability is affected because the answer is long. We don't know the especially the markers characteristics may affect. In essay test, there are lack of questions that have to be answered within a limited period. Therefore, opportunity for preparing questions using the entire syllabus is less. Yes. So, like, we can't give many essay type questions in a paper now. So maximum, let's say, if you are writing answers for 3 hours, right? And if we say that it takes at least half an hour to write a lengthy answer to a question, so the maximum number of questions you can include is 6. That is not at all able to cover a long syllabus, a big syllabus. So it's very difficult to cover the syllabus with essay type questions. Allowing students to select questions, they will write answers for a variety of questions. Therefore, marking papers so as to get an accurate measurement is difficult. So to have the syllabus covered more, what we usually do is include more questions. Like if the examinees are expected to write 6 answers, we give about 10 to 12 questions and ask them to select, right? So the selection may vary, like now when there are 10 questions and we ask them to select 6, right? There can be one examiner that selects questions from 1 to 6, okay, right? There can be another person selecting from 5 to 10. And there can be some other person selecting 1, 2, 3, and then 9, 10. Then again coming back, they write answers to number 5. So the order of writing answers may vary. The selected number may vary from one person to the other, right? So then the marking is very difficult. So it takes a long time to mark. Weight of the questions is not similar. That's the other thing, right? There can be different weightages for the questions. Like when you say analyze, they may need one type of answer. If you say discuss, right, the length of answer may be different, right? Write short notes, again, the length of the answer is different, right? We have some examples. One example. Following are the examples for essay type questions constructed with various deficiencies. These have problems, right? Example 1, evaluate the personal diversity illustrated by Anda Sutra. I don't know what that is. Right. Evaluate the personal diversity illustrated. Discuss the importance of a learning aid. How races are appropriate to children. It is so. Inquire about the winning and defeating. Right. So these questions, they don't have limits, of course. Evaluate the personal diversity. So that's a huge area. The importance of a learning aid. Now, learning aid can be anything, right? So they have a huge selection here. They can talk about the picture. They can talk about a very complex model, right? So we don't know. How races are appropriate to children, that is not either. That's not a question, right? That's not a statement. It is so inquire about the winning and defeating. So what are we going to inquire about the winning and defeating? Is it the mental status of the people, physical status, how they express their like feelings? It's not clear, right? No clear guidelines are given. Example 2, denote 4 facts that should be considered by a teacher in the classroom. Denote 2 obstacles available in organizing such a classroom and denote in brief the thing you have to do for preventing them. Draw a classroom design appropriate to a lower primary class. Now these are like better questions because there are limits. We know what they have to denote 4 facts. 2 obstacles. Design a classroom appropriate to lower primary class, right? But here second question again has some defect, like because it has 2 parts and denote in brief the thing you have to do for preventing them. So it's like in brief, we don't know what length it is, right? Example 3. Inquire the regulations of the 1972 government constitution appointed as the most superior institution of the national government committee, right? And it is like difficult to understand the question. Inquire the regulations of the 1972 government constitution. So what are we going to inquire about them, right? Whether it is like useful to the country, not useful, the logical side or the legal side of it. We don't know. Example 4, discuss the power and the function of the executive president under the following headlines. Government leader, leader of the executive presidency. So this is very misguiding. It sounds very nonsense because it's about the executive president and this second part say leader of the executive president. Leader of the cabinet. Right. Problems created in marking essay answers. What are the problems we have? The variance of the examiner. That means the variations between examiners. Variance occurs in applying the method for marking answer scripts. Yes, different people may apply different methods for marking them. Spending the time for marking answer scripts, right, takes a long time. Like some people very quickly mark them. and some need a long time to read the answers. The number of questions included to the test, the number of examiners involved for marking answers. So these things can vary a lot. So as a result, there can be changes in the marks. Suggestions for improving essay questions. Planning the test using a table of specification, right? So planning the test using a table of specifications, using definite action verbs, right? So what happens is when we continue to prepare, make achievement tests, we use the same type of question word, definite action word, right? Write the answer. So the words like discuss, evaluate, analyze, criticize, some verbs we use. Using model answer in marking answer scripts. So the marker is the examiner is given some model answers so that they can follow the model answers and mark the papers. Marking answers using analytical method. Multi-evaluation, that means evaluate the same set of papers by different markers. Using panel marking, right? They get together, sit in a panel and discuss issues. As the issues come, they discuss and come to solutions. Structuring essay questions. Provision of a frame for the answer through the question. So we give a frame like this. Inquire briefly the changes occurred by renovating 1924 government constitution under the following headings. We give 3 headings. The committee of the constitution, financial committee, entitled power of the government. So the examinees are asked to write under these 3 areas. So we have some early understanding about what type of things they are going to write and the structure of the answer. Constructing the question with parts, right? So here what happens is there's a major question is there and we give some guidelines under the major topic. But here the topic itself is divided into 3 parts. What are major steps that should be followed by a test maker in constructing an achievement test? Introduce selection type questions with examples that can be used to a test paper, and discuss the importance of using various types of questions for measuring achievement. So it is preparing achievement tests or the types of questions included in achievement tests, and this type of questions divided into 3. Mentioning the things that should be done or should not be done in the provision of the answer. Let's look at the example. Example 1. Think that organization of producers set the floor price of a good that should be sold by social producers. What are the changes that will be happen by such involvement? Explain with the diagram. Right. So mentioning the things that should be done or should not be done. Right here. Explain with the diagram. So they know what they should do. Think that there is a constant supply of any good and there exists an excess demand under the current price. Present the above explanation by using a diagram. So again, it's a diagram. What are the changes occurred in the competitive market economy because of the following things? Customers make high demand for the good because the changes of customer choice. The production cost will decrease on technology changes, show changes step by step. No need to draw diagrams. Now there we say no need to draw diagrams, right? But explain step by step. What should be done, what shouldn't be done, all are given. Then we have constructing questions based on a table, like specification table. Constructing questions based on pictures. Constructing questions based on graphs. Examples, questions based on an illustration. Example 1. Elite people should be responsible for it should be creating creating French Revolution. Explain this statement by considering the contribution of following categories. So again, we give illustration is this statement here, and some guidelines to divide or structure the answer. Structure in the question giving the length of the answer. So we usually in essay type questions give a word limit. Now here it says instructing to restrict the answer to a page or 2 pages or number of words. Controlling the answer by the marks. Example. What is the pre-process of chorus in Greek drama? So it's only 4 marks. So then they need to write just get 4 marks. So if they can write 4 points, that will carry 4 marks. How does the chorus make in the libation bears drama of Aeschylus? I don't know what. 6 marks. To whom they are partiality, just writing a name or something, 2 marks. So how this chorus participate this drama actively, 8 marks, right? So there are detailed answers. Let's look at that paper I showed you earlier. Now here also you can see, define the term education measurement, just 2 marks. It's a short definition, maybe 1 sentence or maximum 2 sentences. Do you agree with the statement? Evaluation or assessment cannot be carried out without measurements. Give reasons for your answer. So you say whether you agree or not. Then you about 3 reasons. Explain 3 reasons. That is enough. 3 marks. Present with examples. 3 advantages. Now here it is named 3 advantages gained by the student through the transferring of education process from evaluation culture to assessment culture. So then you explain enough that you get 5 marks, right? It's only 3 advantages. So, and a good introduction for this and a good conclusion for this, then it carry 5 marks. So by giving number of marks, also we can restrict the answer, right? They may not write long one, right? So we have the next type here, right? Now I would like you to ask, right? I would like to ask you to decide some essay type questions for your subjects. Now you can design some essay type questions for your subjects. So follow any method you like. You can either give guidelines like this right under the following areas, or give a number of pages or words, or restrict the answer by giving a number of marks, right? So follow any method you like and write your answers. Sorry, write your questions and send to me like you did earlier, right? I think I had one already. I say type questions. Right? Extended answer variety. What is the lowest number of houses can be seen in the village? Is the highest. I think this is not extended. Is it an extended answer variety divided into small parts? Extended answer variety body yes, it is structured. Iresha has sent, yes. So Iresha has sent a structured one. This is good, yes. This is structured. Can I show it to you? It's okay. It's a structured question. It's a good structured question. So let me structure in this and show this answer to everybody. Yeah. So the by mistake she has written extended answer, but it's really structured essay. When a number of houses in a village is round off to nearest multiple of 10, it is 50, right? What is the lowest number of houses can be seen in the village? So then they should know the theories of rounding off, limits of rounding off. What is the highest number of houses can be seen in the village? Write the instance which the estimation can be used in day-to-day life. It's a good question. Yes. Right. So in the third one, the last one, give some opportunity for the students to think, include their own thinking, part B. Right, a good question. Okay, right, now it's time for you to write some essay type questions from your subjects. Quickly write your questions and send them to me. Right, I'm receiving answers. So Irma has sent a good question. Let me read this for the others. Analyze the character of Desdemona in the novel Othello in your perspective. And she has given 4 guidelines to build the answer. Positives and negatives. How does the character impact in the novel? And how does it affect the climax? Yes, good. Let's give some more time for the others to send us answers. Yes, one more question. Two. Question based on illustration. Yes, it's a illustration based question from Taranga. Education, healthcare, and social services are the fundamentals of society. Yes, good statement to begin. How have these sectors advanced and developed through the years for the well-being of students, right? So 3 areas are given to discuss that. They are education, healthcare, and social services. Good. This one everybody can see. Explain briefly about the food transportation through what's this? Column tissue include. What's this? I don't know how to pronounce this word. Which tissue is that? The food synthesis process, the tissue involved in the process, the mechanism of transportation, right? Good. Right, so you are giving directions for writing as well as limiting the answers by giving them areas to discuss. Right, currently, and the question, like based on an illustration. Some days are warm, some days are cool, and some days are rain. These are ways in which we describe the weather in a place. Name 4 seasons and explain about your favorite season. Explain about the winter season and the clothes that you can wear. What are the special features that you can observe? Yeah, this is more like structured essay question. It is the essay question is structured there. Right, yeah, one more answer is there. Let's see. I don't know. She has taken a question from somewhere or maybe typed some. It says draw a diagram to investigate the nature of bonds in water by using LED bulbs, dry cells, beakers, carbon rods, and connecting wires, distilled water. Yeah, it gives guidelines. What is the observation of the above setup? Draw Lewis structure of a water molecule. The water molecules have angular shape as given below. What is denoted by AS? This is good. I will show it. Right. So this is the question he sent. Now the molecule structure is given. Then it asks, what is denoted by A in water? Write three properties of water gained due to the bonds named as A. Right. So A is termed. So it's again based on an illustration. There is something she Inusha yes prepared for her own students. That's good, right? It's a good question. We have another answer. Let me see. Right. Viresh also has said now it's difficult to prepare supply type extended answer type questions for mathematics. Right. Discuss about even numbers. Yes. Okay. Right. Evaluate numbers that are divisible by 4 without remainder. Yes. So they should have good knowledge to write those answers. Right, good. And thank you for your answers. All are almost correct. There are just a few weaknesses, but you have understood the concept. Then let's carry on our discussion about different types of questions, question types. Supply type tests. Now this time it is recognition type or matching variety. Identification of a set of stimulus and a set of responses. Measure the simple knowledge, right? So they are simple things. Column A, example 1. Column A contains a list of novels. Column B contains a list of authors' names. B, selecting the authors in column B, write the number of the blank given, right? It should be not B selecting, it should be by selecting the authors in column B, write the number of the blank given, right? Number in the blanks given, not of number in the blanks given, right? So then you have to find Kalahanda, who wrote Kalahanda from these people and write the number here. Who wrote Rohini and write the number here. Who wrote Meena and write the number here. Who wrote Siriyalata, Viragaya, right? Dingiri Menika, whatever it is. You find the name and number. Example 2. Several scientific inventions contains in column A and column B contains the relevant scientists. Select the scientist for each invention and write the relevant letter in the bracket. So we have letters A, B, C, D, E. We have to write this side. Radio, who invented it, right? And write it. The electric bulb, who invented, write. The telephone, who invented, write it. Write that. Okay. Example 3. Select from the prices in column B those that correspond to the items in column A and write down its number in the relevant brackets. So you have to do some calculations here. Find the answer and write it here. Right. 6 pencils at 5 rupees each and 4 exercise books at 12 each. So what's the answer? 4 liters of diesel at 77 per liter. So multiplied by 4 and write the answer. Right. Yeah, so it goes on like that. Facts that should be considered. The size of the list of the stimulus and responses. Number of responses must be greater than at least 1. Right. Now you can see here we have 4 questions here, but we have 5 answers. Right. So that is what is said here. Number of responses must be greater than at least 1. So if you give 4 questions, there can be at least 5 answers. So they have a choice. They have to go through them and find the correct answer. So it's okay to have 6 to 7 responses. Right? We see these in the gap filling or blank filling activities also, questions. There can be 10 blanks, but we give about 11 or 12 words. So they have to select. Facts that should be considered. That is given. Stimulus must be included to a same time, right? That means now here it is calculation. This is the stimulus, right? Earlier it was the names of the novels, some novels, Sri Lankan novels, right? Then the inventions, scientific inventions, similar type. It should be prevented by writing long sentences, right? If it is matching, don't ask the candidate to write long sentences. Similar response must be included to the syllabus, right? Now, those should be there in the syllabus. Now, for example, all these inventions should have been discussed in the syllabus. All these novels should have been mentioned somewhere in the syllabus. So we can't include things beyond the syllabus. If anybody includes anything in a question paper beyond the syllabus, even in Sri Lanka, you can go to the courts against them. Then we have the two alternative variety. Example, the author of the novel, Malagi Atto, is Edirivira Sarachandra. Right or wrong? Is Edirivira Sarachandra author of the novel Malagi Atto? Yes or no? Right. Same question in different words. Sri Lanka is an island, right or wrong? India is a continent, right or wrong? Australia is a subcontinent, right or wrong? So it's just a selection. So you have the possibility of making the correct answer, 50% of percentage. Example 2, if the following statements are correct, right R, and wrong, draw circles. If the statements are correct to other side are wrong, other side draw circles. This question is not clear, right? I don't know. Anyway, two options are there. One is RW, the other one is OW. So these are, logic questions. It's anyway complex to understand. Good characteristics it is used to measure simple knowledge. Yes. It suits the primary classes. Large subject content can be covered. No, we have discussed those things earlier. Let's go down. Weak characteristics are extracting facts directly from the textbooks will make mistakes. It can make mistakes. And at the same time, extracting direct facts from the books will make it easy for the candidates. Opportunities for speculation, right? We know that after studying about 5 to 6 years questions, then you can have some idea, okay, last year they have asked this question, so the next year, the question will be from this side like that. Educators are unable to agree with some statements. Yes, okay. That's fine. Then we go to the multiple choice questions. There are 5 types of multiple choice questions, varieties. So we are going to discuss them. Multiple choice questions. Multiple choice questions have 2 parts, STEM and choices. So STEM is the body of the question. That's the question really. Then we have choices. Choices are the answers we give, right? There are maybe 3, 4 choices, 4 choices or 5 choices. One of them is the correct answer. One of them is the correct answer. The others are called distractors. They are called distractors because their duty is to distract the attention of the examiner away from the correct answer. The other options should be able to draw the attention of the examiner away from the correct answer, right? So there's one correct answer and distractors. They are all called as options or choices. And the question part is called STEM. The first statement is stem. Answers are called as choices. Various question patterns. One type is question variety. The question, the stem itself is a question, direct question. Where is the chemical factory situated in Sri Lanka? So you have four options. Find the correct answer, underline, circle, or write the answer. Incomplete statement variety. Right? Half of the statement is given, the other half is there in the answer. So correct, find the correct answer and fill in the statement. The United Nations Trade and Development Conference is referred in abbreviations as, now it is not complete. With the correct abbreviations, you have to complete. Then there's negative variety. Example, which of a quality that should not possess of a good person in a democratic country, right? So especially when we present questions like this negative variety, we highlight the word not, give the word not in bold print, so that the examinees are not misguided. Then for answers, select the correct one. Then related type variety. Related type variety, or in some cases we say it combined answer variety, combined response variety. Related type or combined response, because the responses are combined. They combine 2-3 things. Because of that, this is called combined response variety. A person who obtained immunization for a virus disease has a rare opportunity to infect it. Shown below, there are 3 ideas for reasoning it. So we have 3 things. Producing in the body through the virus, destruction of virus entered to the body through the antibiotics created by immunization, prevention of entering the virus to the body by the immunization. What is the answer, which includes the reasons for protecting to the infection from the disease who obtained immunization? So we give a combination of answers and ask which combination is correct. Right? So that's why we call related type or combined response. The responses are combined. And the 5th type, the best answer variety. What is the most appropriate expression among the expressions given below about the water cycles? It's not the correct answer, the best. All these answers may look correct, but we have to find the best one from them. So all correct, all may be correct, but there's a best answer which matches the best. Yes, so those are the 5 varieties of multiple choice questions. Facts that should be considered. Okay, facts are there. Okay, I think because it's been a long discussion, right, we can stop somewhere there and discuss a little more about the multiple choice questions in our next lecture and go to intelligence test, right? Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
I think we can stop. Yes, go ahead.
Sir, I have a question about matching variety.
Yes.
Yeah, there is a question about the topic. 4.3, it has named supply type test, but I think it should be correct selection type.
Yeah, it should be selection. Yeah, that's a mistake. Yes, it should be selection type test because we have to select the answer here. Answers are given, we have to select. So it's not supply, right? Please get it corrected. Now here I have a PDF here. I can't correct it, right? Yes, it should be a selection type, not supply type. Yes, any more issues like that? Thank you for pointing it out. Even I didn't notice it. No. Right. Okay. Then I think it's enough for today, and we will stop there and discuss further about this. I will give you some more examples for these 5 types of multiple choice questions. Discuss the strengths and weaknesses of them, some other characteristics, and then move directly to testing intelligence tests. Right, then that's all for from my end today. Thank you for joining and listening so patiently to the end of the lecture. Have a good day and thank you. Night.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir. Good
Thank you,
night.
sir. Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Night.